if you have just finished an elimination phase or you have been feeding a restricted diet for a while, there is a very common fear that shows up. What if I expand and everything flares again? That fear is understandable because when you have worked hard to calm inflammation, the last thing you want to do is disrupt stability. But here's the key shift: expansion is not chaos, expansion is structured exposure. Yeah. And if you expand correctly, you do not lose clarity, you build resilience. Today, I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. Before expanding anything, we need to define stability. Stability does not mean zero symptoms, perfect stool, perfect skin. Stability means symptoms are predictable, flares are mild, recovery is faster, the baseline is calmer. If your dog is still actively inflamed, still flaring weakly, still unstable, you do not expand. Baseline first, then diversity. This prevents panic-based decisions. This is the most important rule in diet expansion. Change one variable at a time. Not new protein, new treat, new supplement, new topper, all in the same week. One protein, nothing else changes. Keep the same fat source, the same feeding schedule, the same environment, same treats, or no treats at all. Why? Because clarity builds confidence. If stool softens, you know what changed. If itching increases, you know what to evaluate. When five variables change, clarity disappears. And when clarity disappears, fear increases as you are not sure what changed. Here's the timeline most people get wrong. They introduce a new protein. 2 days later, stool is soft. They panic. They remove it. That's not enough data. Most mild digestive adjustments occur within the first few days. That's adaptation, not failure. What we are watching for is pattern: persistent stool, change beyond 10 to 14 days, escalating itching, ear inflammation, regression from baseline. If symptoms stabilize within a week, that's adaptation. If symptoms escalate and persist, that's intolerance. 3 weeks is a reasonable observation window for most healthy adult dogs. For fragile dogs, you may need to go slower. Not all changes carry equal risk. You need to start with another clean, well-sourced protein. Avoid simultaneously adding new fats, new supplements, or new complex blends. Proteins are the largest immune signal. Control them, so you need to control them carefully. Once 2 or 3 proteins are tolerated, you have widened the tolerance window. And that's when resilience begins to build. Let's normalize something important. Mild, temporary change is not failure. Normal adaptation may include slight stool softness for a few days, mild gas, slight appetite fluctuation. What is not normal: persistent diarrhea, lethargy, escalating skin inflammation, systemic symptoms. If you treat every minor fluctuation as danger, you train the system to remain fragile. Resilience requires small exposures. Small exposures build tolerance. Let's go back to the Labrador from the last video. After 2 years of duck-only feeding, we did not introduce 4 proteins at once. We introduced turkey. Small amount, mixed gradually, watched trends. We found that mild stool changes happened for 4 days. Then the dog was stable. 3 weeks later, we introduced beef. Slow transition, no panic. Over 6 months in, that dog moved from 1 tolerated protein to 3, slowly but gradually. That is expansion done correctly. Not dramatic, not urgent, not chaotic. If you are currently in an elimination phase and unsure how to time expansion, I break this down step by step in my newsletter. It's where I map these systems calmly without overwhelm. And if feeding amounts feel uncertain while you are adjusting proteins, use the calculator at drghunaim.com. Structure reduces anxiety. You will know you are on track if flares are less intense than before elimination, recovery is fast from those flares, and stool stabilizes within days, not weeks, and you feel active. Resilience feels calmer, not dramatic, just steady. Elimination gives clarity. Expansion builds resilience. You are not trying to create a perfectly controlled system. You are building an adaptable one. And adaptable systems do not collapse when conditions shift. In the next video, we're going to zoom out even further and talk about long-term feeding strategy, how to think in seasons instead of reactions. I'm Dr. Ghunaim. Clarity comes before change, and understanding always comes before action.